All right, Jawa James here. I am with Gabriel Hardman and Corinna Bechko, the team behind Star Wars Legacy. So how's things going at Comic-Con?
Great.
Good. Very busy. Every moment of the day is scheduled.
All right. And so Star Wars Legacy, you guys have just basically put that out this year. We're up to, what, issue 5?
Issue 5 is just coming out.
This week. And have you guys talked to people about it? What have you heard?
Actually,
We've had a lot of really positive responses. I mean, we really set out to do a book that felt like Star Wars, even if it's if you don't have all of the exact same iconography from the earlier films, and and I feel like people are responding to what we've done with it.
Well, I've certainly enjoyed reading it. That the way that you have the interaction between Anya and Sok and AG, that I think you've got a power team right there. So
that's a lot of what we're talking about when making it. It feels like Star Wars. It feels like something that is in the Star Wars universe. Yet it's not replicating exactly things that people have done.
You get the friendship and loyalty without necessarily the exact same characters.
Or the same dynamic between the characters.
So what is it like, working together as a team for writing it and then drawing it?
well, it's pretty organic at this point. We've done quite a bit together. We did a lot of Planet of the Apes books before this, and the creator owned graphic novel a long time before that. So at this point, we've kind of got it down. I think.
Yeah. I mean, and we've been, especially doing the Planet of the Apes books, doing the Star Wars books, we've really kind of honed our process because these books got to come out. This stuff is on deadline.
At first, but we have it down now.
And we just co-write the book. We work on every element of it together. I mean, we break the thing, the stories, and do and work out the plots and submit them, and then we'll go through and break out every page by the panel. We'll talk about the dialogue. Corinna will take a pass on it, just send it to me, and I'll go and pass on it, and we just pass it back and forth until it's done.
All right, so tell us about maybe what's coming up, or do a quick little recap for our viewers of what they've missed so far if they haven't been checking it out.
Our volume of Legacy is about Anya Solo, who's a descendant of Han and Leia, but she's not a big important person. She's somebody who was running a junkyard on the Outer Rim when she gets drawn into sort of a big conspiracy involving a Sith, who's trying to single-handedly bring about a Sith resurgence, and she gets her friends among calamari, and she gets help from a former assassin droid, and we kind of and put together this sort of little team who's going to end up going out and trying to take down this Sith over the course of the series.
And for the next arc, we're going to go back to Dak and see what's happened, because at the end of the previous Legacy, Dak was decimated. There was a genocide, and the species that lived there, most of them wiped out, and it's basically
And so we're going to kind of be dealing with that, and it's sort of an ugly business, but hopefully we come through it and find a little.
Yeah, I'm sure that Sok is going to definitely have a lot of mixed feelings about what's going on, and maybe even learn on a personal level something more. That
It's hugely personal for him. It's where he comes from, and he hasn't been back there since all of this happened, and he was away when it happened, so he never.
Which is why he survived.
But
I'm sure that's going to also make him feel a lot. Wow, now I'm getting all emotional. Now, what about the assassin droid AG? Very different kind of take on an assassin droid. What is it like, creating that character?
You can't go wrong with an older, world-weary
warrior guy. We just like that kind of character, and he's somebody who, clearly he's different from other assassin droids we've seen, and there's something to that, and eventually we'll tell you what it is.
All right.
That's how this storytelling business works.
We also needed a little bit of someone for Anya to bounce against, because she's so brash, and we kind of needed somebody that had a little wisdom of the history of the galaxy.
Yeah. I mean, it's just casting the wise man in a very, unconventional form, and each of the characters it's set up so that Anya, Zhao, AG, and Zhao, the Imperial Knight, who is, potentially on the outs with the Imperial Knights,
right?
Where they all bounce off each other in different ways, and that creates drama, interest.
Yeah. So tell us more about kind of the relationship between Anya and Zhao. That he's very kind of more staid and wants to do things right and a little more cautious, and she's running it head first. Sometimes not always the best decision.
I think they recognize things in each other that they have a tendency to maybe do to excess, and that they may rub off on each other.
Yeah, and in the first issue of the next arc, there's a pivotal moment where Anya's brashness complements Zhao in a way that that lets that story happen, and her brashness comes off a little bit more idealistic, and lets him see the right thing that they should be doing.
Interesting. That she's the one that is leading the way on sort of the moral high ground.
I think she learns a thing or two during the
and then she'll probably forget them along the way. But
Yeah. And then so dealing with the Sith, how is it trying to kind of put a new take on where the Sith are in this time frame?
That was tough.
It's an interesting problem, but we wanted to. We saw so much of the Sith, of the one Sith in Legacy, the previous Legacy volume. We just wanted to narrow it down to one arrogant guy, and he's not, he much like Anya in a way. This Sith he's not the most important Sith in the world. He's just going to make himself the most important Sith,
The book is Legacy, and I think that much more than Anya, this guy thinks he has a legacy to push forward as being part of this.
Interesting. I hadn't even thought about it that way.
And taking it, and he wants to take things back to something, his idealized vision of what the Sith used to be.
Interesting. I hadn't really even thought about his goals overall, other than just being a bad guy. But he obviously has a plan.
Oh yeah, no,
and
he has fundamentalist goals, like all your best villains.
Yeah, and he certainly has some very personal grudges against his former master, and that plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you doing the art, to describe the process of that, and you have a very unique style that we don't really see in any of the other Star Wars comics.
Right, which I didn't think about at all when starting this. Honestly, the biggest thing I thought about was, I like Al Williamson, and I don't want it to look exactly like Al Williamson. Although I've had people, make that comment, but I really it really is just that the story dictates what the art looks like, and we're writing this story. And apart from me wanting it to have a feel, I looked at a lot of samurai manga. I looked at a lot of, and I certainly scoured back through all the designs, the Joe Johnston, Nilo Rodis, Ralph McQuarrie designs, to just try to, get that
Star Wars reference.
And just to get that Star Wars feel in there. And that used universe.
Yeah, it's definitely got that used gritty. Everything is dark and kind of rough.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. If you think of it, especially about the first Star Wars movie, it's shot in a Gil Taylor shot it. Who had worked with Roman Polanski on Macbeth before, and I believe shot Doctor Strange. But anyway. director of photography, who he brought a very 70s gritty style to that movie, and there's grain in it. And they shot things through a pantyhose filter and things like that that you wouldn't do today, but it gives it this very authentic feel. And so in some way I want to bring that kind of gritty authenticity where it just feels like a world that you can understand, not a world of royalty and highfalutin stuff.
Yeah, this is definitely the people who are down way out in the boonies, and even then they're on the bottom rung of it.
It's working man Star Wars.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe part of the allure for me is that it's just common people trying to make their way, and they're thrown into a really bad situation.
Yeah.
What other influences do you have for either for your Star Wars or for any of your other works, Planet of the Apes?
It's tough to say. I mean, probably each project has its own influences. I mean, certainly we, for this, we rewatched all the Kurosawa stuff, samurai movies.
We looked at a lot of stuff that George Lucas before he made
I mean, but we, but also, I think, the inspirations for this have come from, Humphrey Bogart movies, from things that feel like they could be related, but aren't, but we don't want to just repeat things from Star Wars, I mean, we want to take inspiration from things that'll make it feel fresh, but are very much the kind of things that would have influenced Star Wars. But otherwise, I mean, just art-wise, I'm a huge fan of artists like Jorge Zafino and Bruno Premiani and artists that are, Bruno Premiani did the '60s Doom Patrol comic, and Zafino never did one thing really. I mean, he did a book called Winter World, maybe in the '90s, and but like, there's a certain level of craftsmanship and style, but I always want to bring a sensibility that's a little bit different to something, but that's still within the bounds of style in that universe.
Cool. What other projects are you guys working on that you guys want to talk about, or?
Oh gosh.
We have a one-shot from Dark Horse called Station to Station that collects the 3-part story we did in Dark Horse Presents. It's like a modern day sci-fi story with big monsters and decimating Treasure Island in San Francisco. And that's coming out in August. And we also have a creator-owned graphic novel from Image called The Crooked Man that should be out next year. That's set in 1906 San Francisco. It's also in San Francisco.
Apparently you like trashing San Francisco.
We like to go to San Francisco and take
research. Yeah, so
comics you end up trashing.
But then we end up destroying it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why twice we didn't destroy San Francisco in 1906. That earthquake did. It's not our fault.
We don't like it there.
But so that's sort of a revenge thriller, and I have a book called Kinski that's a sort of very indie black and white creator-owned book that is published digitally first through Monkey Brain. You get it exclusively through Comixology. Each issue is $1. It's a 6-issue story about a guy who steals a dog.
And I guess I should mention I co-wrote adaptation of Once Upon a Time, the television show with Dan Thompson that'll be out in September from Marvel.
Okay, cool.
And you also have the Outlaw Territory.
Oh yeah, from Image. There's a Western-themed anthology called Outlaw Territory Volume 3.
Neat.
We've been busy.
We have a
Yeah.
lot of stuff.
Well, it keeps you busy. I hope you guys are having a great time here at Comic-Con, and thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.